Alright, so we should be live. Let's go. Let's see if we can put on our knee pads real quick before we go off and do our run. Keep it moving. Alright guys, just bear with us one moment as we put on our knee pads. Jumper knee straps, perhaps. Oh, this one's kind of loose. There's one more. How's the Velcro? Is like coming off. It's like it doesn't want to stay. Alright, here we go, guys. Let's see. Oof. See if we can finally cross the street. Ba-ba-bum-da-donk. Oh, here we go, guys. Woof! As we continue our run, doing this craziness for all you guys to run with us and say no more as we make our way through. Here we go, here we go. Hello, we're being filmed already. Oh, I think we left our pocket open, did we? Yes, we did. Uh-oh, that's not good. Let's see. Oh boy, they'll let us cross eventually. Come on, slow down. There we go. Oh, well, we got these whole people here. Let's see. Come on, you gotta be nice. Oh, I know. Hey, as we have some people saying what's up. I heard not hot. What? We're good. We're still out here moving, doing our thing with all you guys live streaming, watching us as we make our way through out here singing. There you go. And I guess our main objective now is to not get caught in the darkness right as it gets darker. Sun coming down. Very frightful, fearful scenario for us. Right as to get caught in the darkness. Who knows what can happen, but like down, we're wearing neon green so we can be seen by people. Right, we don't get hit, become an object in the road. So, you know, essentially, that's where we stand right now. And come to think about it, where do you stand? Right? What type of body do you have right now? Because everyone's got one. Right? Your body's your direct reflection of everything you've done to this very moment. Also your intellect, right? Your breadth of knowledge. What do you know? Are you, a master's degree recipient, PhD, self-educated, right? All the different accreditations you can obtain, and even many would argue is, being self-accredited, right? Teaching yourself, right? Very lost art in this day and age. And to be frank, I would say it's more important than the actual educations, because I'm a big believer that education doesn't stop when the bell rings, right? That whole notion of school's out, time for summer, time, to have fun, enjoy yourself, right? Put education to the side. That's lost to me, right? I don't think that way. I, for one, may attend classes, right? Begin teaching myself once those classes are over, it's up to me to keep going, to continue what I've learned and apply it, right? The real skill, right? Because I would say the knowledge that you gain from reading the book, right? Memorizing the different terms, knowing what to do and not to do, right? Is defined by a book is one thing, but actually knowing what to do in a given scenario and applying it is where the skill comes from, right? Not just reading about the basketball shot, but being able to, put your hands up and shoot it, right? When the time is ticking, right? The shot clock's going down and your team is depending on you. Are you able to put the ball through the basket? Whole definition, whole essence of life, right? Because you can read about it all you want, mentally go through the motions of shooting it, but without picking up a ball and shooting, how good can you possibly get? And we would argue, not so good. So for you, that's the whole essence of life, right? What do you want to do? Do you want to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, professional athlete? Hello, right? So many people already know this when it comes to the athletic examples. They know they got to show up and play, right? They can read as much as they want to read, but are they truly going to develop the skills needed for the game without actually, showing up and training themselves, not just reading about it and thinking about it? So that same concept applies to everything in life, right? Although you can make significant strides by teaching yourself, getting that education in that area, the real improvement is going to come from going out and trying it, right? Going to battle, fighting the war, getting some scars, getting some bruises, and coming back stronger, right? Direct example will be the gym, right? Very foolish to think that reading every fitness book ever made is going to magically give you that body you've always wanted, right? Everyone knows they gotta go to the gym and get it. So, just like with everything in life, go to, that gym and do it, right? That gym is not in particular always going to be a gym, right? It can be an office, it could be a library, or for some people, if they want to practice their social skills, go out to a bar or club and work on it, right? Big mistake I would see, common issue. So many people, especially in the pickup community, or people that simply want to be more charismatic, more confident in social scenarios, so many of those people just read and watch and consume content without actually trying to apply it, right? You want to be able to listen and follow the direction. How good is it just to listen, right? You just become, a set of ears at the point, right? That would suck. The whole purpose of your ears is its connection to your brain, right? It takes in the information from your ears and the brain processes it and turns it into action, right? You hear a bump in the night, you're gonna want to get up and maybe probably confront it, right? If you have to have your family, right? If you can't discern that noise, if you just have ears, you're not gonna be able to act upon it. It'll just be another stimuli like any other. It won't have a significance. It won't have a meaning. And when you hear somebody, telling you advice, do it this way, do it that way, don't avoid these certain pitfalls, you want to apply it. Try it for yourself. But it may work for you and it may not. But the important factor is that you go and try it. One vivid example too, I even think of as a stubborn little kid, is that I hated onions, sushi, different foods for pretty much no reason, right? And the funny thing is, I never even tried them. I had so many, uncomfortable feelings towards particular foods without tasting them, without giving my body or my taste buds a chance to, see if it was actually good or not. And so many people, go through their lives making these same judgments, very faulty, right? Because, if you keep going around seeing things as either black or white, good or bad, do or not do, you might miss out on some potential amazing opportunities, right? Because there's some, particular lessons in life, particular avenues that may be unconventional. And if you try them, they might work wonders for you, do amazing things, right? New ways to work out, new ways to study, new ways to push yourself, your body, and your mind. And if you don't go about them, but if you're not sure by yourself, you'll probably never make, and you actually won't make progress in them. So really do, your work, right? Your due diligence, right? And going and trying out whatever it is that you learn. Right? It's almost like the person that gets all these different degrees, right? Masters, doctors, PhDs. They get, all this different knowledge and never apply it, right? They're in school for 6, 7, 8, 10 years, back to back, every day, waking up doing the same thing, chasing a piece of paper, right? A degree, accreditation. And essentially, when it comes time, to actually practice it, to put their knowledge to the test, they decide, that they don't want to do it. They're tired of it. They're sick of it, right? And even another example is that during these 6, 7, 8 years, 10 years of study, right? Vast amount of time it takes to get there. After the bell rings, they go home. Does that mean that their study stops, right? When they're done with their homework and everything, is it time to relax? And we'll say no, right? That's when the real learning begins. That learning that's going to separate you from all the other individuals across the board, all those same people that you might be working with later on, because they got all those same degrees and accreditation, right? Milestones, right? You're not special just because you got them, right? Because the people that you work with are all going to have those same features. And what's going to matter is what you did besides that, right? Besides the entry point. So let's say, hold up. So I had to spit. But yeah, that's how you separate yourself. Are you a good public speaker, right? Are you a healthy person? Are you nice to be around, right? All of these, are skills that can be developed, worked on, and, can separate you from the crowd, right? Of PhDs, doctorate students, right? All these people that did these fancy degrees for long periods of time. And far often, when it comes to decision to hiring you or not, giving you a raise or not, your degrees don't really matter. It's about what you did outside of it. Were you a true bona fide leader or not? If you're asked to explain your work, explain yourself, are you able to adequately do that, right? And if the answer is no, you might be struggling, suffering, because there might be someone, who actually can do it, right? And that very virtue separates them from you, right? As competition, as someone who is pitted, against you, right? You have to outwork them, outdo them, right? Everybody's friends at the end of the day, but you got to realize that it's a business, right? You got to be the best you can be, right? It'd be like LeBron James, best player in the NBA, decides to slow down all of a sudden, right? Tries to get his friends, to play a little bit easy on him, right? In the NBA, that those guys are all friends. Right after the bell rings, you see them, the buzzer, whatever it is, rings, they're all hugging, embracing each other, and you're discussing plans, right? They all have dinners. They're all good friends, know each other's wives. But when it comes time to the game, it's all business, right? You can't expect that because someone's your friend to take it easy on you, right? Or you the same way. I give people special treatment because they're your friend, right? That's why a lot of people say don't mix business with friendship, right? A lot of people can't handle that aspect, right, of introducing their friends to a workplace environment with them, right? It can complicate things, right? Because that, varying interest that they might have, right? They don't see them as a potential, asset to a company, right? Because, many people might think that those people truly care about them, but in reality, they don't. They only care about the numbers, right? What you can perform, how much money you can make them, and so forth. And when you have friends that you actually care about, when you're forced to think that way, the whole, I would call it soulless, right? Seeing their performance almost like a robot, right? If they don't do the proper job, you want to upgrade it with a new robot, right? A new worker. And, if you come to the decision where a friend isn't doing the job that they're supposed to, right? And you have to take them out, remove them. It's going to be harder, right? Because you care for them. You know that you taking them out of that position that they're currently in is going to hurt them financially, emotionally, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to, but it can, right? Whether or not they're emotionally cold, right? What they're supposed to be, taking rejection the right way, taking failure the proper way, not reacting so much to it. But in day-to-day encounters, not so many people actually like that, right? So if you all of a sudden decide that you want to fire them, put someone in that's more qualified, better, it could be the worst thing in the world to them. It could hurt them very badly, and frankly even put them on the street, right? If they're living paycheck to paycheck. So, and if it's somebody that you know pretty well, right, a friend, someone you grew up with, it could be horrible. And you can almost be looked at as a person that did that, the person responsible, when in reality you aren't, right? You were just the deliverer of bad news, right? You're just a messenger. And essentially you have to think of it that way, right? Being cold, realizing things for what they are, right? Friends or business, what do you want in particular? And if the answer is friends, then you know what to do, right? Settle down on the business side and engage more like a friend. But if it's business, then you got to think about the numbers, statistics, output, input, all those great things. But if it's both, you have to figure out a balance between the two. And the thing that works the best is the example that we mentioned before, right? When the game is on, it's all serious, right? From 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, when you're supposed to go to work and perform, that's your time to be serious. But any time after that, is you can joke, you can play around, you can laugh, have dinner, whatever you want to do. But once 9 o'clock rolls around again, you have to be back on your A game, right? No time wasted, right? Because you wouldn't waste that time if it was just another person, right? If they weren't your friend. So essentially it boils down to that point, right? What do you value more at a given time? So think about that, consider that, and make the appropriate course of action, right? Calculated decisions, right? That's pretty much everything that we do, because don't do the homework, don't do the math required, you will get burned and essentially make improper decisions, right? Ones, that essentially you have to do this work before making them, right? Especially financial ones. People think you're not going to buy a particular house without doing your homework, although some people do foolishly, but for many, they actually sit down and do the homework, right? Because it's a big decision, right? Probably the most expensive thing they're ever going to buy in their entire lifetime, a house. And by virtue of that, it's going to take them some time to process everything and make a decision. And one would argue that the best decisions, aren't made emotionally, right? They're made after the due diligence, right? You taking in all these statistics, all the metrics that you have to take in, study, do your homework, practice, learn, figure out what your risk reward is, and then, putting things together. And for many people, it's hard, to not be emotional, right, throughout, right? Because you're buying your first house, right? You want to step foot inside it. There's no feeling like it, right? Getting your own home and moving in for the first time. But essentially, you have to disconnect those feelings when you are purchasing it, right? Because essentially, it's just gonna mess you up. And it's gonna hurt your ability to think straight, make the appropriate calculations, and essentially get the home that you are supposed to get, versus the one that triggers your emotions, right? Maybe a home that looked like the one you grew up in as a kid, or one you saw in a movie, or whatever reason, right? Those can trigger emotional responses, and per se that can lead to faulty decision making, right? In such big crucial decisions, right? And you may not feel the repercussions of them immediately, but a couple years down the line you probably will. They'll catch up with you, and you will be paying the price, right? Even literally, because you overpaid, you got the wrong place. So really think about that and do your homework, making your decisions for your life. We could even think other examples would be if you're purchasing a car, going to a particular college, right? Whether you want to go in-state, out-of-state, in the same town that you're living in. Well, all these are big decisions that people have to make. And when you tie emotions into them, it can mess you up truly significantly, and essentially mess up your thought process, right? Because if you do that, when the emotions change, and they will, because emotions are fleeting, right? They're temporary, they are not forever, right? Because the statistics, the numbers, the track records are forever, right? They're written down in stone, right? They're there for you to see the output. And what is not going to be forever is the emotions, right? How you felt today, tomorrow, next day, right? Do you feel happy? Do you feel excited? Do you feel optimistic, sad, whatever? It's not going to matter so much when you make these decisions, which are going to affect you and your life. And per se, for the emotions aspect of it, you have to simply just remain, I would say, the same. You almost don't want to be emotionless, but you want to keep that same fixed emotion, joy, right? Totally different than happiness, right? Joy and happiness are two completely different factors. Happy is more like you won the lottery, you feel great, euphoric, but the joy is that constant feeling, well-being, right? That smile on your face just for living life, right? That's where you want to be, right? Not someone who's always, happy and jumping for joy because you might get tired doing that. But essentially, if you remain, within that same emotional framework, it's going to be more optimal for you, right? Because it's going to be harder to throw you off of that emotional state, right? Whatever things may come at you, unnecessary bills, right? Failed exams in school, right? Because everybody bombs an exam, everybody messes up, but what's going to matter is how you react to those mess ups. But throughout all those mess ups, you want to remain joyous, happy, right? Having that lust for life, right? In love with it, right? Just like you would with a partner, a lover, right? Because your life is the longest relationship you will ever have, right? We're in relationships with it, right? We have dealings with it. We literally wake up in our body, right? And engage with it and improve it. So if you're treating it the wrong way, you're essentially having a bad relationship with your life, or with your mind and body, right? Who would want to do that? But you'll be surprised at how many people mess this up, right? They're their own worst enemies, right? They're hurting themselves, telling themselves the wrong things, that they're incapable, that they suck, that they're not worthy, of, let's say being attractive, or, having their goals hit, right? They're really, messing themselves up, right? And it catches up with you. It adds to your stress. You're feeling, being inadequate, right? It'll hurt anybody. And before you know it, as you get older, you will age faster, right? It'll be harder for you to progress as a normal functioning adult, right? Someone, who, is living a normal life, right? One of joy, right? That's what we want to define the normal as, right? Not needing so much. And here we go. Throw this over. As we almost got hit by some cars. But here we go. So we make it. And what were we even saying? The joy of just being alive. Right? Someone can come up to me and call me whatever name they want to call me. Horrible, good, bad. And I will retain those same feelings, right? Of joy, happiness. I am happy to be alive, right? Truly something you should probably want to repeat to yourself. Write on a board, chalkboard, right in your phone, wherever, whatever it takes for you to remember it. Because essentially, that's one of the best things to keep in mind, right? It'll make you happy with nothing. That's the whole essence of life, right? Do you really need all this fancy stuff, to be happy, to feel good about yourself, feel adequate, feel like you are enough, right? And if you don't, it's gonna mess you up. It's gonna make you feel horrible, right? Your self-esteem is gonna be through the drain. And, essentially, as you have someone there, going middle way around, right? So many people have these different self-esteem. You'd even say like depression, right? Lack of happiness, lack of motivation. And a lot of that would come from not simply being happy about life, having that joy, right? That you need every day when you wake up, right? Do you wake up with a smile on your face, or do you wake up angry, resentful, regretful, right? What you did yesterday, You might have gone out drinking super late and regret that, right? Those feelings trickle into your everyday feelings, right? Your well-being. And you know, if you're making this mistake over and over again and allowing it to linger, progress more and more, repeat itself throughout your day, you essentially are setting yourself up for failure, right? Not allowing yourself, you know, the proper mind state, right? To be able to retain information and grow and get better and improve and go and keep going and not stop and keep going and finally get there, right? If you're someone who's consistently doubting themselves, doesn't believe in what they can do, what they've done before, and what they will continue doing, you won't get there. Sorry. That's, you know, a sad shock, but you won't. But you gotta be happy. You gotta be positive. And, you know, eliminate all the BS that's in your mind. Get it out of there, right? It's dust, it's dirt that simply just clogs up your mind, puts unnecessary thoughts and feelings in there, and before you know it, you know, can get clogged, right? You can feel horrible, right? Have, you know, horrible feelings. And, you know, essentially, it takes some awareness, some, you know, ability, you know, to know yourself and make the appropriate action, right? Whether it may be, you know, going to the gym, meditating, reading a book, or simply sitting in silence, whatever it is that you deem necessary, you know, to clear it up, to take away all of that BS from your mind, right before it hurts you, as we have a sticky situation here. But let's see. So as we keep going, right, you can't let it get in your head, right? You got to stay strong, stay hard, stay focused, and continually progress and make your way over. So that's a huge thing, man, because especially our minds, you know, tend to replay over and over again what we are thinking subconsciously, but you might not be aware of it. But if you call yourself bad names, so many people do it, right? They tell themselves that they're not enough, right? Not strong enough, not pretty enough, not good looking enough, not smart enough. All those thoughts that you once had in your head, you know, a long time ago, can linger in there, can stay within your head. And before you know it, you're gonna feel like absolute garbage. And, you know, it could have been prevented, right? Had you been aware, right? That you're the guardian of your mind. You're the protector of your thoughts, right? You carry that shield that blocks all that negativity, that BS that you retain in your mind, right? So many, you know, individuals don't realize that, right? They blame their problems, their inabilities on other people, other individuals, you know, even who they don't see anymore or for long periods of time, right? Might be based upon their upbringing, right? As a kid, right? And they might be 30, 40 years old now and still thinking about what happened to them, what trauma they might have experienced. And while there's different ways of solving that, right? We're not going to go into detail as far as how you can particularly solve it, right? We're far from an expert in that area here, but by simply actively trying to fight it, realize that it's there, you're going to make significant progress, right? A lot of people don't even know that they have some problems, right, that they got to deal with. So essentially, they go out there not knowing, right, retaining all that negativity and setting themselves up for failure, right? Because if you're thinking that way, it's very hard to meet new people, get new ideas, new thoughts, new ways of thinking in order to improve yourself and get better. Improve, right? Requires a clear mind, clear state, And essentially, if you have so much blocking it, so much clogging, right, nothing's gonna get through, and you're gonna stagnate. And believe it or not, that stagnation is only going to make it worse, right? Hurt you in the long run, and prevent you from moving forward. It becomes an endless loop of failure, right? Inadequacy, not achieving everything that you set out to achieve. That's because in order to, get this forms of success, you have to progress and improve. And from that progression and improvement comes more success and more success, more and more and more and more and more. So you hit those different milestones and trophies. And that form of growth is not linear, but exponential, right? So forgotten in this day and age, right? The beauty of it, exponential growth, right? Compound interest comes to mind, right? The idea of taking a particular return, 5, 10%, whatever it is, and reinvesting it at a later time, right? Once you get those earnings, those gains. And what you'll start to realize is if it started at 5%, that 5% return is going to become 6 eventually, and then 7, then 8, right? Your returns are only going to get higher and higher and higher, right, as time progresses. It's not linear. It's not the same value every year. That value is going up and up and up and up, right? It never stops, until you do. And if you don't stop, guess what? You will wind up in the stratosphere, right? With so much achievement, with so much under your resume, under your belt, mastery, right? Wealth of great proportions, fame like crazy, success, right? It's immeasurable, literally, right? You can't measure it. It's infinite. So people may think that you can't infinitely grow, right? You can become infinitely rich, infinitely strong. But I would say that yes, you can, as long as you use that idea of exponential growth. So huge, so big, and awesome if you'd apply. As we wait for this person. Whew. Get money twice. Let's take a little breather as we wait to cross the street and see. As nighttime is starting to approach, and we essentially are going to get ready to wind down our run and call it. But we still got a good, say, 15-20 minutes at least before we finish and wrap up. So let's see. As we gotta wait to cross the street, and as always, it's going to get very loud as we enter this super busy street known as US 1. So let's see. All right. So we are able to resume activity and go. So let's go. All right, here we go, guys. So we're back here, reporting live as Pitbull states. That's what we're doing. Reporting live. Isn't this so cool? This is so awesome. I can literally be running here, essentially alone on the sidewalk, but with a seemingly infinite amount of amazing people, right? Just like yourself with us, right? It literally is a game changer. It feels so awesome, right? Because people can honk, they can come up to me, talk to me, whatever, engage, say good things, say bad things, who knows? But it's not the same, as having a, team, a community of people, watching us, supporting us. So if you're watching and you like us, you like what we're doing, might as well hit subscribe and keep up to date with us, because there will be plenty of more awesome content just like this, right? We're trying to start a whole new trend here, right? Because I don't know of too many people that do what we do with the whole running and juggling act. So by virtue of that, we hope, that it is a, bringer of difference, right? It's unique, it's change in this world, right? Who wants to do the same things over and over again as they've been done for years? Why not start a trend, do something your own way, right? And not truly care what other people think of it, right? Because not everyone thinks of this as awesome, as great, as useful, right? A lot of people are genuinely curious, right? Why are we doing what we're doing? Why, did we decide to go out and run and juggle, right? Might even throw nasty comments, at us, but it's okay. We're prepared for it. We know who we are and what we're capable of. We have a mission and we're sticking to it, regardless of whether people are accepting of it or not, right? It's okay if people don't like it. Still gonna keep doing it. And to be honest, one of the best ways you can get at people who don't agree with you, who may not want the best for you, is to simply keep doing what you're doing, right? Don't, as you try to get their attention, to get them to slow down, possibly rethink their driving, right, in case they hit someone else. But we don't do it from a place of hate, right? Even if you see me running here, observing some people not driving, up to par, we will try, to alert them, to get their attention, make them realize that they might want to reconsider what they're doing, right? How they're driving, and so forth. Hey, yo, what's up, man? Hello. And, essentially, possibly teach, right? Not from a place of anger, but from a place of hope, right? We want them to drive to the best of their ability, right? Not hurt anybody, not, get into an accident, mess up their driving record, right? Mess up a day at work, right? Because if you get into an accident, your time is going to be messed up, right? You're going to be stuck in an accident, waiting and waiting and waiting, mess up your day at work, and essentially prevent that, right? Wouldn't the world be a lot better place if we don't have those accidents, roaming around, right? That could be prevented. And in a sense, yes, this person has their windows so tinted that we can't see inside, but we stop juggling just to safe measure. That's another thing too, that when people have their windows tinted so dark, especially at nighttime, we can't see a thing when we're running, walking, and we can't see if that person sees us. So really dangerous, right? Some people might get annoyed. They get pulled over for having dark tinted windows, but it's for a reason, right? Because two people that don't see each other, driver and someone walking, is a potentially dangerous scenario. And over here, we try to get, the cars, the people driving them, aware of that. We try to, make them want to get the attention of the runner or view them, because far too often, even I'm guilty of it, when we drive, we can think almost on autopilot, right? Where do we have to go? Which turn do we have to turn? And we forget about the other factors, people crossing the street, things on the road, animals, people, etc. And that can lead to mistakes, errors that can truly be catastrophic, right, if we're not aware. So really be aware of what you're doing, right? Those little things in the road that matter so much, and you will be on your way to becoming a better and safer driver and person, right? Even throughout your daily life, you'll make little mistakes, even in your job. And if you're a surgeon, make a little mistake, that could be the end of you. So by focusing, paying attention, right, not letting yourself sleepwalk through life, as Warren Buffett states, you'll be on your way to doing the right action, getting there and getting to your goal, right? Without so much error, unnecessary error, right? Because we know in life that we're supposed to screw up, but when, it could have been prevented, that's when you want to stop it, right? And prevent the issues from arising. That whole preventable error, right? Huge, big, right? Because the whole thing with the surgeon, right? Why they have to be so precise and avoid all of those microscopic elements, right, of error that they have to avoid, literally within millimeters, right? Not even inches, but millimeters. And if they move their hand a millimeter to the left or to the right, up or down, it could potentially be fatal for the person they're operating, the patient, lead to them potentially ending a life, getting sued, losing their job, and their income, right? The awesome life that they have right now. And you got to remember too, one little mistake, can potentially change your life forever. Never take your life for granted. So many of us can do that, right? We grew up in privileged households, aka pretty much everybody in America, right? We're born with choice, the ability to choose what to do with our time. And if we mismanage it, we're wasting our time, right? Not making use of it. As it's so loud, we can't even hear ourselves. But essentially, it's going to spit. As it's getting dark, the main point, main concept in all of this is to realize your worth, realize what you are given, and make the most of it. Execute, and you will be there. So as always, just say thank you. It's too dark to stream, and goodbye.